Greetings, beautiful humans, loyal minions. Welcome to Late Night with Sai. Hello, Putty Cat. That was interesting timing. Balance update for May. This has just popped out onto the forums, and I thought I would have a little bit of a chat about it. Tying into recent videos I've done about improving the game, that type of thing. Interestingly enough, I did see some the recent survey we had today about the paths of dragon, paths of valor, etc. And there was a couple of options in there which were exactly the things that I had mentioned about being able to pick your own rewards or having, different. Anyway, bit of a coincidence, I believe, but I took that as a good thing that their mindset is similar in some ways about improving some of those things. So regardless of whether it had anything to do with my poll survey stuff, I have sent it through. I haven't received any feedback directly as yet. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like the exact option that I had in the suggestions we put together was in the survey. So interesting. Anywho, on to the balance update. Now, I'm going to go through the balance updates and then share some thoughts because I think sometimes we can look at things very, very bluntly and, you have that first impression, but sometimes there's just a little more behind it. Sometimes there's not, but just going to discuss that. So moving on. I know the thought that everyone's going to have because it's the exact same thought that I have. Astral Dwarves to start with. Okay, so the brand new heroes, most of them would be seen as, maybe not overpowered, but some of the better heroes in the game. And here we are giving them increases. Megwin, boosted HP from 600 to 800, damage reduction increased from 30 to 40%. Ixen. So again, Ixen, Vard, they've come out in the last 2 weeks, basically, 3 weeks, maybe a month. Ixen, direct damage increased 510 to 530, Wither increased 400 to 450. Now, don't get me wrong, this is fantastic for anyone that has these heroes. I've got a few, not of the Astral Dwarves. I don't think I've got any bloody Astral Dwarves, but there are some other heroes I do have. And some of them are some nice and probably kind of needed changes for new heroes. Anyway, we'll get to that. Vard, direct damage increased 450 to 470, mana generation debuff from 30 to 35%. Sourness from 460 to 500 direct damage. Damage to a random enemy increased from 460 to 500. And Quarry from 435 to 450. The Moths. Because we all know the Moths are just extremely underpowered. Passive skill, dodge passive skill, dodge special damage. Let's all learn to read. Dodge chance increased from 10 to 15%. Affected heroes, all heroes of the Moth family, and Ithar. Okay. Not huge there, 10 to 15%. Pepper Blue. I don't understand why she was released as it was. It was terrible. We've already given a total direct damage from nothing to 400, and now it's going up to 450. Still doesn't keep her. It's not what she needs. It needs more than a single hit with the other skill it's got. The hero needs changing. Anyway, whatever. It's gone from 400 to 450. Chunky Roy, one of the best red healers in the game. Direct heal increased from 40 to 45%. Mana generation buff value increased 24 to 30%. Mortar Witch, heal for all allies based on damage dealt increased from 30% to 40%, and damage of the Mega Fiend increased 250 to 270. Satin Pimenta, toxin damage increased over 4 turns from 540 to 612. Some of these just seem extremely is an extra 60 damage over 4 turns really going to change anything when it comes to Satin Pimenta? If you're putting her in a yellow stack, you're going to be killing them with the hits. Grove Mega Fiend damage increased from 260 to 275%. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand there's a lot of data behind these changes, which I don't have access to. So we can all make our judgments without knowing all of the facts. I would love if they actually shared some of this data. I just think it would make these updates so much more understandable. So again, Small Giant, if you're listening, put some data in with these changes. Give us a reason. If the reason is because the portals aren't doing, you're not getting enough summoning at the portal, tell us that. Tell us that these are new heroes and they're not being used enough based on your data. Show us. Share the experience with us. Let us be part of the journey. Fawns, Isidore. My man Isidore. I'm so wrapped with this one. His damage is being increased from 300 to 350%. That's great because I have him. Gideon, defense buff value increased from plus 50 to plus 60. Ascian, direct damage increased 240 to 270. Mana reduction after enhanced defense element ends, blah, 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 blah. 10 to 15%. All allies' mana gain increased from 10 to 15%. Isabel, direct damage 525, 535. Again, a 10% difference. Enhanced defense from 50 to 64. Tamlin, direct damage from 450 to 460. Maud, 260 to 280. Verity, 320, 350. Peregrine, 440, 450. Yolanda, I have Yolanda as well, so that's nice. Bleed damage increased after enhanced. Dodge ends or is removed or replaced, 483 to 765. Baramble, mana gain increased for allies after 3 turns or immediately from 20 to 25. The Untold Tales 2 heroes, passive skill, Molten Core. So the damage is increased from 10% to 12. Corrosive burn damage increased. Defense reduction buffed, minus 10 to minus 12. Affects all heroes of the realm. It doesn't actually say what the corrosive burn damage is going to. Same for the Arctic Core. The frost damage increased and the attack reduction from 10 to 15. Dulfla, the ward damage is buffed, so it's from 1200 to 1300. Regen, an extra 100 on that as well. Pridemar, an extra 100 on the damage. Duration from 4 to 5. Dagger, an extra 100 on the damage. 45 to 50 for the burn and poison increase. Ot. So they're all basically getting 100 extra damage or 100 protection on the ward. Gander's getting 200, being slow. Quite a strong hero already. Health recovered, 25 to 30%, and counterattack. Hognir, Frostfall from 22 to 23, max damage. We're getting a very similar theme here. And I will get to the main reason for what I want to discuss once I go through them. Aslagar, so that's increased from 3,000 to 4,000, that's big. Duration of dodge, 4 to 5. And Vari, a little bit extra there. Beowulf family. So you can see here they're all very new, very recent families. And we'll get to something a little bit funnier down the bottom. Passive skill, attack buff per stack increase from 25 to 30%. Passive skill empowered resist mana reductions. So the health boost is going from 450 to 600. Mana gain from 5% to 10%. So that's nice. Status effect generator renamed to source of ailments and source of buffs for ailment and buff, giving variation to the effect, respectively. The effects are no longer fully undispellable. Instead, attempted dispels shorten the duration of the effect by 1 turn. Okay, that's interesting. Hrothgar gets a nice little bonus. Direct damage increased 310 to 340. He was a touch underpowered. Wealthial increased to the boost. Modrith increased to the counterattack. Tiny A shield. Tiny little. So again, just tiny little increases there. The Slime family. Time to revive in Slime is shortened from 3 to 2. Slime Slap, direct damage. From 290 to 350, and that's for Dunctus, Goric, and Gorian. Charmaine, this is an interesting one. Reasonably good hero with the paralyzed goo stuff. Now also does 400% damage to 3 targets. It's like, that's just a huge increase to a hero. That's probably something like Pepperblue needs, as opposed to Charmaine, who has Charmaine, who has a great skill already. Interesting. Nidus, holy enemies now receive reduced defense against dark. All holy enemies get minus 34 defense against dark. So again, we're just bringing in, these ones are getting total new. Anyway, direct damage from 520 to 535 for Gunctus. Fungustine, a little bit of boost there to the health. Defense buff increase from 25 to 30. Gudrun, increased buff. Slime Fiend, amount of healing absorbed. Yep, so the Fiend is getting stronger. Slim Go, direct damage increased. Water damage increased. Mana generation a bit better. Muctus. Oh, look, you're probably getting bored of me going through these, so we can check them out there on the screen. Gurian, Magic Carpet, another brand new family. So the mana generation buff for the float momentum's gone up a little bit. The dodge has gone up a little bit. The ailments, when they get reversed, is better. Naeem gets a bit of direct damage, counter-attack damage increased, and some Sand Touch. Alyssa goes from a 42% heal to 50%, so that's fantastic for me. I have Alyssa. Then we go on to these weird ones, like we're increasing the stats by like 8 or 10 or for 2 random heroes. Like, I would just love to know what data they've got that shows for these random 2 heroes that we need to put a stat boost on. Like, I'd be interested to see if they're going to be featured anytime soon. Then I get to the really funny ones, the costume, the hero of the month. Like, all these new heroes, like, some of these new heroes, like Shermani, is getting an extra 400% to 3 enemies. And crappy old hero, sorry, I shouldn't say crappy old hero, but a Lacey just gets a 50% hit increase. Like, what does that go? Yang Mai is absolutely like, I don't think a free-to-play player is using Yang Mai, and we're getting a 30% damage increase. What does this do? These heroes are like 60% as strong as some of the new heroes, and we're giving them, an extra 1% overall. Anyway, Suzuna, heal over time increased, 100 over 3 turns. Who cares? Bow and run, whatever. So, I just find that crazy that, like, why do we just randomly pick 5 old heroes or 4 and give them tiny little nothing increases? Do a proper update on these older heroes. Now, the other thing I'm going to say, so on face value, that just all looks stupid. We're all going to look at it and say, oh, but we're just giving new heroes buffs. They're going to chase more money. Now, the one thing I will say is, and just like bear with me here, see if we can slip and slide on this journey to get to the same point, is in a way, this is actually a good thing because these heroes are already out. Now, what I think this does, and I'm not saying this is the reason, maybe it is just the money grab, but is it a way of keeping the heroes from the last, say, 6 months relevant to the new heroes that are coming out that are a little bit stronger? So in a way, this is actually balancing older heroes, not really old heroes, but, the recent heroes. So rather than new heroes coming out in 2 weeks' time and us saying, oh my God, they're so overpowered, they're so much stronger, this is actually bringing those recent heroes that we've spent money on in the last sort of 6 to 12 months and actually prolonging them against the new metas that are about to come out. So just think about that for a little bit. Now, I know it's not perfect because it's only select heroes and it's only these heroes from the last sort of couple of months. But from that point of view, I can actually see that as a positive. So it's like, yep, I picked up Yolanda a month ago. I've got her leveled. I'm using her. But we keep saying these heroes are getting outdated too quickly because the new heroes are stronger. So this actually addresses that, but it's only addressing a tiny little portion. So I just want to keep that positive part of the change in mind. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. It obviously needs to happen. Like these increases, the increases for every old hero should be 3 times as much as what these heroes are getting. So whilst I am looking at that positive and thinking it is a good way of keeping the recent heroes up to date so that you don't feel they're outpowered straight away, but give some love to the really old ones that really need it. And that's been another size soapbox. I hope you enjoyed that. I like talking about these sort of things. I like trying to look at things from different angles rather than just everyone saying this is stupid, these heroes don't need updates. Well, that can be a very black and white way of looking at it. But as I said, it also keeps these heroes that we've already got, in some cases, relevant for a little bit longer when these newer ones are coming out that are going to be a little bit stronger. But it just needs to happen on a bigger level for older heroes as well. Anyway, enjoy your night, morning, whatever it is, wherever you're watching. If you enjoy what I'm doing, gently press the subscribe button. Give your kitty a scratch for me. And have a good one.